Kong bows to no one.
I'll explain what is going on in the movie. There are some Easter eggs in this version of the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla film. This is the next major film in Warner Brothers' attempt to unleash all of their films on HBO Max in 2021. If you are a huge fan of the classic Godzilla or King Kong series, this may look a lot like Batman vs. Superman in that it pits two titans against each other to see who will prevail and who will be the true villain of the film, since it seems that they will finally join up close to the storyline of Batman vs. Superman. Even though they are battling here, it is obvious that someone is using Godzilla to target humanity. As you can see in this huge Tokyo battle, even though Godzilla is supposed to be a friend to mankind, particularly after the last film saving the world from King Ghidorah, and because we are talking about this new Godzilla in King Kong franchise returning to Kong Skull Island, King Kong is also a good character in that film, so why would they fight unless they were both being used by a version of Lex Luthor, who ends up being the true villain of the film? However, Millie Bobby Brown, Kyle Chandler, and her father, as well as several other vital characters who have returned from Godzilla, King of Monsters. Some of the newcomers are Alexander Skarsgård, the boy from Deadpool 2, and Urza Gonzalez, who I am not sure what she will be doing in the movie, but she may be associated with the other organization. I will explain why Rebecca Hall seems to be another nice character associated with Alexander Skarsgård, who seems to be a Kong specialist and is looking after this little girl who has a special connection with Kong. Even if she is keeping up this Kong doll, it seems as though she is summoning him like a golem or worshipping him. They made a joke in the last film that the citizens are the Titan's pets, as though she would be Kong's pet and not the other way around. The other big thing that everybody's talking about is that Kong got a massive size upgrade as a result of working out or juicing or something in those lines, because King Kong is usually smaller than Godzilla. When you think of the Titan's real height, you usually think of King Kong climbing up the Empire State Building, but here it seems that King Kong stands over and above the city skyline, as though they are supposed to be around the same size. I believe that it is precisely why they made him larger, even though it is a bit of misdirection. Just like in Batman vs. Superman matchup, they seem to be closely balanced because King Kong lacks any hidden powers while Godzilla is still almost invulnerable thanks to his atomic breath ability from the first film, and then this new power, the atomic burst, that creates the red power from the second film. Godzilla is going to show off another new power in this film, giving him 3 super abilities compared to King Kong with only pure brute force. This may explain why King Kong will be equipped with a weapon in this movie to somehow balance their differences. And a very cool thing about this weapon is that King Kong handles it well whenever he has it. It is hard to say if this is one of Godzilla's dorsal spikes because it is shining in blue like Godzilla's when he lights up his own, which is made from one of his dorsal spikes. So I'm guessing that in one of their earlier battles, he was able to hurt Godzilla in one of his spikes. It fell off, and that King Kong will use that to use the special weapon in the next major battle, which will take place in Tokyo. They have not brought Godzilla back to Tokyo in a huge way like in the older Godzilla films, but it seems like a big classic deep cut because that is usually where he would be in his films, even though they don't get into it too much during this movie. If you look at IMDb website, you will see that a lot of actors are cast as employees of an organization called Apex, and I think they're the film's villains. Apex is a villainous version of Monarch that preys on Titans for profit and weapons. When they said that people were attempting to harvest Titan DNA in the previous video, they got into it. This is similar to when Charles Dance's character is an eco-terrorist, except there are several other governments around the world that are talking about getting their hands on Titans to weaponize them, and Apex is among the organizations involved. In this trailer movie, you will see a lot of big boss battles before their big battle, including including King Kong battling a couple of other titans, such as the flying snake titans, who may be Natsuki. Later in the teaser, you may have seen what appears to be a flying bat titan, but Godzilla, King Kong, and the other alleged real main villain of the film may not be the only titans in the film. There will be a slew of others too, since they showed off 17 different titans in the previous video. The big fight on the aircraft carriers is meant to be a tribute to the original King Kong vs. Godzilla fight, and I know it is strange that they reversed the title. The classic film is titled King Kong vs. Godzilla, so why would they title the new movie Godzilla vs. King Kong, which reverses the credits? Maybe they gave Godzilla top billing because they are positioning Godzilla as the lead character in this context, even though they are both at the same degree of prominence in Batman vs. Superman. After all, Superman is supposed to be a god on Earth, but when you think about it, the Godzilla films are much more successful than the King Kong film, so it seems that they plan to stick with Godzilla films, with this becoming one of the last King Kong movies. I'm not anticipating a third King Kong film for this version, but if he stays in this Godzilla world of new modern films, King Kong will most likely appear in other Godzilla films if they don't end up fighting one of the major titans. You should also consider Godzilla's most recent film, in which he is already king of the monsters and the king of the titans. But King Kong is not about to become king of the titans or something, but this is just the first preview, and they are not telling you much of the story. Instead, they are only showing you some of the highlights from the first half of the movie until the first major Tokyo War, where everything is expected to be epic. However, I believe that most of this footage is from the first half of the film, and that before you find out what is going on with the real villains, the Apex organization, there will most likely be more of them in the second trailer. And then they will do the Doomsday thing that they did in Batman vs. Superman trailers as well, where they reveal who the real villain of the film is going to be. Godzilla, according to Millie Bobby Brown's character, is being controlled by someone, and the evil Apex organization may have a version of the Orca or whatever similar that they're using to manipulate Godzilla to kill all of these different parts of the world. We haven't seen the Kong Skull Island movie in a while, but if they bring back Tom Hiddleston's character or mention him in some way, keep in mind that he will be in his late 70s or early 80s during the events of this film, so do not expect a young Tom Hiddleston to be running around. Since she seems to be a much larger character than she was in the first film, it appears that this franchise is evolving into Millie Bobby Brown's franchise. But the very big rumor about the main villain is that the true villain of the film will be MechaGodzilla, who they'll finally team up to defeat, and Apex will be the one who created MechaGodzilla. I think it has everything to do with them revisiting the notion of extracting King Ghidorah's Titan DNA and using it to build MechaGodzilla as a tool against Godzilla. With the movie's trailers, this is indeed one of those films we need to add in our bucket list. So start ticking off the list and tell us your thoughts about the flick on the comment section below. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.